Join me in welcoming Keith J. Weber. Hey, Keith, how you doing today?
I'm good, Steve. How are you?
I am doing really good. Today we're talking about your book three of the Sean Wynn thriller series. It's called Nogales Pass. I hope I said that right.
Yep,
Um,
you did.
and uh, like you said, it's book three of the series. But before we jump right into the series, tell us just a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
Well, I am a retired financial services pro. Used to be a certified financial planner and worked in brokerage and that kind of stuff, and retired from that a few years ago, and kind of went back to my collegiate love, which was writing and writing fiction, and I've just been having a great time doing it in the last few years. It's been great.
And we're going to give people an opportunity later on this month to also get the other books after they totally fall in love with the series. But catch us up just a little bit. Where can we read book three all by itself, or do we need to go get the first two books before we
No,
read book
each
three?
Yeah, each of the books is completely standalone. All that you need to know is in each of the books. So it doesn't matter if you read them in order or out of order. Now, if you do read them in order, you'll find that there are sentences or two in books two and three, that relate back to the earlier books, but there's no key information that you have to have from book one to read book two, or going into book three. They all stand alone by themselves.
Perfect. Well, give us an overview. Who is Sean Wynn, and why are we excited about what's going on in his life?
Sure. Sean Wynn is a former Marine who, after 8 years in the service, um, left the service, went to USC on the GI Bill, met a girl, got married, and was living a perfectly normal life until she was hit by a stray bullet, and that was he was suddenly a widower, and that changed him. He In dealing with his grief, he went out, bought himself a Harley Davidson motorcycle, and hit the road for the next 3 years. And really, that's where the Sean Wynn story starts in book one of the series, called Night Rules. It shows him, on the road, and a certain adventure that he has as he's traveling around the country. And then, of course, book two is his learning that bullet that killed his wife may not have been a stray bullet, that it may have been intentional. Hence the title of book number two. And so he then goes out and takes his vengeance on those who was responsible for his wife's death, leading then to book three. He's now trying to find his way in the world, and he's asked to go into another situation that allows him to use the skills that he gained and acquired as a Marine Special Forces operative. Steve, I apologize. You've frozen. I don't see you. It seems like Steve may be having some trouble. Maybe it's trouble on my end. We're having some technical difficulties, it would appear. All right, I can see you, Steve. I still don't hear you.
Wait, you hear me now?
Yeah, there he is. There he's back.
I don't know what it was. We've had a lot of interesting errors over the years, but that's a new one. All right, we are back. I heard everything you were saying about Sean and the stuff that he's going through. So let's talk a little bit about what inspired you originally. I mean, I know you said you love writing, but what inspired you originally to write this series?
Sure. It was really interesting. And so the first book in the series, Night Rules, was the one that was originally inspired. And it came from the fact that my wife actually received a Facebook notification that was forwarded to her about a woman who had traveled this stretch of highway that my wife and I travel a half a dozen times a year, every year for the last 30 years. And this Facebook post was from a woman, warning women who are traveling that alone to be careful, because her experience was that some vehicles, assuming a couple of men in these vehicles, had tried to stop her and pull her over, and she was very much concerned that she was about to be abducted. And so she was warning people, and that was a Facebook post, a warning that my wife received probably 7 or 8 years ago, and it just stuck in the back of my head. Every time we drive that stretch of road, we think about that, and I'm thinking to myself, besides the horror of it actually happening, what a great story. And so that was kind of the genesis of the idea, the seed that said, all right, how can I take this and make a story out of it? And that's where it came from.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
Trying to think now from where you live, where Nogales Pass probably is.
Well, Nogales Pass is in the southern border with Mexico, just out, literally on the border between the U.S. and Mexico, a little south of Tucson.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's why it sounds familiar. It's been a long time since I've been down there, but that's cool. All right.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite part of this story? I mean, is it just all the action and adventure, or is there something else about the story that really appeals to you?
Well, this particular story, Nogales Pass, I really like it because it brings back some history. In the first two books, kind of worked out, who is Sean Wynn and what's his background. But now we start to see him move forward. We do talk about character arcs and those kinds of things in stories. And when you have a series character like this, the story arc is much, or the character arc is much flatter, if you will. I mean, James Bond or Jack Reacher, they are the same people at the end of the story as they were at the beginning of the story. But with Sean Wynn, with Nogales Pass, and what had happened in the first two books, I was able to develop him and actually show him developing and evolving a little bit as a person throughout this. Now, for those action adventure thriller readers out there, don't get too excited. It's not a big character arc. There's still lots of gunfights, explosions, and those kinds of things that action adventure and thriller readers are looking for. That's what this book is chock full of.
Oh, I love it. So, when you think about the things you've done so far with the book, is this going to be the end of this particular series and you'll move on to another character, or are you going to do more with Sean?
I'm definitely going to do more with Sean, working on outlining book number 4 as we speak, and I hope to release it late next year.
Is he going to end up being like Dirk in Clive Cussler's books where, eventually he'll be so old you'll have to have his son be, Dirk Pitt Jr. so that you can just keep going with it?
It's funny you mention that because I know Dirk Cussler. I was just at a conference with him a few weeks ago in Las Vegas, and I don't think so. While it's taking me, probably let's call it 3 years in real life for me to get the 3 Sean Wynn books out there. In Sean Wynn world, only 1 year has passed. So I'm going to slow his aging process down a lot. I hope to stay with Sean Wynn for a while.
Well, that's probably good. I mean, because you can go the other way where you go like where Terry Brooks did, where, every single book you're skipping forward by, hundreds to thousands of years. And you're just like, but I wanted that person back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it is funny. I mean, I've had readers tell me that there are great characters in multiple of these books, and especially a female character in the Nogales Pass book that I've had readers tell me you need to give her own series. So that may be coming. Absolutely, that may be coming.
Well, that'd be awesome too. I mean, we have a mutual friend of ours that one of the books that he did in his series ended up having the female that was the detective in that book. So,
yep,
it's a good idea.
Well, I think that's kind of a thing that's happening, and I get the appeal of it. But I mean, authors are creating universes these days. They're creating communities, within their characters, and not everything has to be about your main character. So I think that's something that a lot of folks are doing, and certainly I'm wide open to it.
So entice us. What is something that is exciting in this book that a person should be looking forward to it so they can go and get it and, of course, read it for free this weekend?
Yeah. Well, it starts with a love interest of Wynn's prior to the time that he ever met his wife, but a woman that he was interested in prior to that. We start off thinking that she's dead, but maybe she's not. Mm-hmm. Maybe she's not. Maybe there's something more to it, and maybe based on the relationships between her and her husband, and the fact that her husband is a Las Vegas crime boss, that only Wynn can be the one to come in and solve a particular problem that has been created by her husband. So,
wow. All right. Well, the book is called Nogales Pass. It is by Keith J. Weber. It is book 3 in the Sean Wynn thriller series, and you can get it this weekend for free. I did put the link both in the description as well as down in the comments. Keith, thanks so much for spending some time with us here on the show today.
We appreciate it. Thanks you, Steve. Have a good one.